everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are technically going through episodes 14 and 15 today of Hunter x Hunter, but I'm going to talk briefly at the start of this about episode 13, the infamous episode 13, as I knew it 5 years ago. So I am reviewing Hunter x Hunter and reacting to it and discussing it, and I've been doing it the last several weeks. And back when I was originally grading papers and my brother had this show on in the background and I was not paying attention, I do remember that at this point in time, when episode 12 was over, I was so excited because I was like, okay, we're out of the Trick Tower. Let's go. I remember watching the moment we got out of the Trick Tower. I'm like, okay, I'm so ready to go. And I remember that I started going ahead and watching episode 13. I think my brother had gotten up to go make popcorn or something. And then the episode started out. I'm going to show you all some screenshots. The episode started out with Aunt Mito making laundry, and I was like, oh cool, we're gonna go back to Gones to Whale Island. We're gonna go see what Aunt Mito's up to. That's amazing. Let's get some backstory maybe on Jing and go from there. But no. So we got the shot of Aunt Mito doing the laundry, and then we got this shot of the mailbox with the letter in it. I'm like, oh, okay, Gon sent a letter home. It felt, again, very Pokemon Red and Blue, where it's like you mail a letter home to your mom and she gets you some more money into your bank account. That's what it felt like. And so then we had Aunt Mito saying, "Dear Aunt Mito, I'm doing fine." I still maintain, even though I don't know if this is factual or not, please no spoilers, from how she looks, I feel like she's related to Jing. I just feel like she's related to Jing somehow, right? It just feels correct because of her eyes and everything, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, she's like, oh, I'm doing fine. And I was like, great. We're going to have a little bit of backstory. No. I remember by the time my brother came back, he was like, oh, this is the recap episode. I'm like, a recap episode? What? If you know me on this channel, I do not like recap episodes. I loathe them. Why do I need a recap? I've been watching week to week. Why would I need to be reminded of things that I've been watching? I'll just go rewatch the scenes if I'm curious. But so, and sometimes recap episodes like with Chihaya Furu has some like bonus segments from the manga in their recap episodes, which make it worth the watch. No, this is just bookended by two newish things. Most of the episode 13 is just solid recap. There's really no reason for you to watch it. I'm going to show you what you missed if you skip it. And part of it is this opening like 2-minute sequence. And then the other part, I will say, I do like this shot of the cup of coffee and the letter from Gon. I do think that's a really good shot. I would make that my background on my computer if I could. I probably will. It's actually a nice background. I like it. But it's just her looking at the letter. What's interesting is that at the very end of episode 13, she goes over to this portrait of Jing by his motorcycle, which you can now see he has the fishing rod, the same fishing pole that Gon has, Jing has in his hand. So I'm going to be curious if way down the line we come across some people, some hunters who recognize Gon's fishing pole and they're like, oh, I remember your dad having that fishing pole. It was annoying. Also, is Gon going to get that sweet ass motorcycle at some point? You know, his dad's been gone for 12 years. He could at least do his sons a solid by giving him a sweet ass motorcycle. It's a 12-year-old motorcycle at least. You could probably upgrade, give your son the old one. I want to see Gon on a motorcycle. If Killua gets a skateboard, I want Gon on a motorcycle. I don't think that's asking for much. But Aunt Mito says, Jing, your son is following in your footsteps. And this line, she says, well, as we zoom in on him, are you happy? That's a loaded question. Like, are you happy now that your son is following in your footsteps? Were those your intentions? Is that what you intended? Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is that what you wanted? Why did you want that? There's a lot of questions loaded in that one little line alone that make me go, okay, is Jing happy that his son is following in his footsteps? If he's not, maybe he should have done something about it beforehand. So I don't know. The whole, like, I went out for a carton of milk and never came back. I just don't like Jing in what he represents right now. I get that Gon is so precocious and innocent and he's like, oh, it's fine. But I'm like, it's not fine that your dad abandoned you for reasons. It's not fine that he didn't communicate with you for 12 years, but expected you to become like him. It's not fine. And maybe he didn't expect Gon to become like him, but if he didn't, he probably should have communicated that to Mito a little bit harder. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't remember everything with Jing, but I remember I do not like him. So maybe I'll remember why as we go. But anyway, so that's all we got from episode 13, pretty much. Now, there are some comments I have for episodes 5, 6, and 7, and 8 before we start this, and I'll timestamp these if you want to go ahead and skip to the reaction. But I do think that there are some pretty good points that I want to talk about before we dive into this episode set. So Kyle Green had comments for episodes 5, 6, and 7, 8, so I want to go through those. For episodes 5, 6, they said, I appreciate all the Minchi love. Minchi is voice acted by Aya Hirano, as you might recall as Misa Amane from Death Note. Quite a difference in character. Well, you say that, but there's a few little similarities in there. But still. I enjoy Minchi's character and her standing up for different types of hunting for being a hunter. When I first watched the show, I wondered if there was an element of gender in why none of the male reactions are the only ones the show presents. Examinees don't take her seriously, or why none of them take her seriously. As you pointed out, Satote's exam was pretty silly too. It's never said in the episode, but it seemed like it could play a role, especially since the main person challenging her is Toto, who is in a stereotypically masculine role as a wrestler. And then the only one who does ogle her is Chairman Netero, whom I will reserve thoughts on for now. Yeah, I've been pretty vocal about my thoughts on Netero, but none of them are good. Not saying this has to be that way or anything, but I found it interesting to consider. Yeah, I will say, I do think Togashi being married to the mangaka of Sailor Moon and Sailor Moon touching in on gendered issues, I don't feel like Togashi is ignorant to that, especially when you're married to someone who touches on those issues in their manga. And I do feel like it's funny because some people complain in Sailor Moon there's not a lot of male characters, it's mainly women, which, yes. And then in Togashi's manga, her husband's, it's mostly male characters and not a lot of women, and it's like, well, yes. But I will argue a lot of the male characters in Sailor Moon are pretty strong characters, and the female characters in Hunter x Hunter that I've seen so far are pretty strong female characters. So, I mean, even Larute was a pretty badass character. She outsmarted Leorio. So I do appreciate Togashi for having these female characters in this story kind of represent being ostracized and being challenged by their male competitors or male counterpart hunters and being able to prove themselves quite easily so far that they're fine. They're on the same playing field in their own ways, and I appreciate Togashi for giving us that so far. We'll see if it holds out, but I appreciate it so far. They also said for episodes 7 and 8, you mentioned this a little bit in the last discussion, but seeing the different strengths of Gon, Kurapika, Killua, and Leorio is interesting. For example, the strategically optimal play when facing a stronger opponent is to run, like Kurapika did from Hisoka, and like Killua did here by choosing not to keep trying to take the ball from Netero. Meanwhile, Leorio and Gon both make the opposite choice, but get rewarded for it. Gon gets the extra time to nap on the airship, and Leorio gets taken to the side of the second phase by Hisoka. Since he'd already gotten lost, it seems unlikely he would have made it there on his own, and worse, could have been tricked and eaten by something in the swamp. However, Kurapika and Killua haven't been punished for their decisions either. I like how the story seems to suggest there are multiple approaches to overcoming an obstacle, and that fight, flight, or freeze can all have viability. I love that. I agree 100% with that. I love that concept. I think that's an amazing note to make, especially as we're leaving one phase of the exam and entering a new one. That might be good to note. But yeah, I really like that concept that Togashi is saying, that there's not, fight or flight is not a choice, it's just options, which, yes, technically are choices, but sometimes choices, when people think of a choice, they think of a right choice and a wrong choice. And Togashi is like, not necessarily. The choices can be equivalent. They can both be good or they can both be bad. depending on the person that does it and the outcome. So yeah, that's interesting. So thank you, Kyle. I love those comments. They're great. Hydroid Medusa for episode 7-8 says, the scene where the examiners are discussing the examinees over lunch was great. It gave me the vibe of instructors hanging out in the teacher's lounge, spilling the tea. I feel like these scenes help the world feel lived in. Maybe that's why I like that scene so much, because I'm a teacher and that feels relatable. Maybe that's why I like that scene so much. Probably. I think it's really sweet that Gon is allowing Killua to just be a kid for the first time in his life. I fear that Killua may be enabling or could bring out some of Gon's darker tendencies as well, but we'll see. Now, I included this comment to talk about real quick because, look, I know people get excited. I know we want to talk about things. But one thing I don't want is I don't want hints or clues. Your girl has 2 master's degrees, so she can, if you give me enough clues, I'm going to figure it out. I'm not one of those reactors that's like, I wonder what it could be. I'm going to figure it out. So I don't want any hints or clues as to things that will come, but we've not seen Gon have a lot of darker tendencies yet so far, which is why I'm kind of like, the comment felt on the teetering of spoilery, but Gon has clearly shown he can be serious, and like anyone, I'm sure he has darker tendencies, and so we'll just see. But please no spoilers, please no hints, no clues. Your girl will figure it out. And if I don't figure out, the show will show me. So we'll get there from there. But they also said in regards to Tampa's betrayal, to quote Mystery Science Theater 3000, riffing Touch of Satan, if you can't trust the devil, who can you trust? I love Mystery Science Theater 3000, but yeah, well, I think the Hunter Association might have some words about that, which leads me to CRHJ2HK for episodes 7 and 8. I keep thinking, them and Salieri had some notes about the organization, which I want to touch upon before we start, because we are starting a new leg of the Hunter exam journey, so it feels appropriate we talk about it. I kept thinking about it for a long time, but I wasn't able to accurately verbalize my thoughts and understanding of the Hunter Association, and the points you brought up helped a lot. Thank you. Glad to help. I think the Hunters are above the rest of the world because of their status and what it allows them to do, which includes disregarding boundaries and laws in many ways. Not because of some ethical superiority, and they're perfectly aware of it, or at least the leaders are. That's why they use those prisoners and examiners, and they are allowed to kill applicants to get the prison time reduced. So amorality is not even low key, and I don't think they're trying to pretend to be paragons of virtue in any way. That's why I don't think Netero is judging or looking down on Killua. This is why I included this comment, because I thought this was an interesting take. I think Killua just assumed that on his own because he actually takes pride in his skills and was put on a pedestal by his family. Hunters are above the rest because they can. Now, I do question that a little bit because Netero did warn Gon about Killua, and he did make a couple comments in the episode that, to me, makes it seem like he's looking down upon him. But I can see where you're coming from. We'll see. Hunters are above the rest because they can. They have the power and authority so they can arrest criminals, but they're not trying to be judges. We'll see about that. Among the applicants and maybe even rookie hunters are probably, you say they're not supposed to be judges, but Minchi judged pretty hardcore. Among the applicants and maybe even rookie hunters, there are some naive like Kurapika who think hunters should be beyond reproach and good. But I feel like the exam is also a way to tell them what the truth of the matter is. For example, Hisoka is allowed to pass the test. So if someone is not okay with it, and I think the association shouldn't allow it and are disappointed, they should give up on the idea of becoming a hunter right away. If they don't and still trust the Hunter Association, it means they are willing to work for a morally gray system and can't complain later on if they didn't know, because the signs were everywhere. And of course, it tells a lot about them as a person, because they're willing to turn a blind eye, consciously or not, for the sake of their own personal goals. Like Kurapika, who's willing to become one of the hunters he despises. So a level of selfishness is to be expected if you pursue this career path. Meaning our heroes at this point can already be put into the morally gray category. I mean, I do agree with that, because Gon didn't bat an eye, and maybe this is where the darker tendencies come from. Gon didn't bat an eye at Killua, like, killing that guy. Didn't flinch. Gon was like, oh, cool. I was like, but again, that's just how this world functions. So yeah, I do agree with that. It's going to be interesting to see, because Kurapika has this idea of how the system's going to work once they become a hunter. And I have thoughts, but it's too soon to talk about them. But from what I remember, I do remember thinking at some point, Kurapika's going to get mad because of how the Hunter Association is treating the system. And when we get to a certain point in this story, we'll have to talk about that. But that is not here nor there yet. But I thought that was worth noting because, yeah, if you agree to be a hunter, you are understanding that you're stepping into a gray society. And Gon, the thing about Gon that is kind of frustrating is that he doesn't really necessarily see the overall picture yet because he's a 12-year-old kid just trying to figure out why his dad would want to be a part of this association. So we'll see. But then Salieri adds on to that saying, I think a lot of people are used to seeing main organizations in battle shonen as being something that aims for good. For example, like in My Hero Academia. And when you start Hunter x Hunter, it's like clashing with hard reality, at least from my perspective. In real worlds, most big organizations and companies don't care about good or morality at all. Well, I don't disagree with you there. Oh, the tea is hot. So when I started Hunter x Hunter years ago, that was probably something that caught my eye in the most, that they just don't care. Yeah, that is definitely something that is apparent from this last episode set. Killua murdering people? A 12-year-old murderer? Sounds like a good hunter. Things to note. I've talked for over 15 minutes. We've talked way too long in this intro, but y'all have such great comments and I want to talk about them. So I feel it's important to bring those out. So yeah, we're going to get started and watch episodes 14 and 15 here in just a moment. Let me get them queued up. Anyway, you all know how this works. We're going to be watching episode 14 and then 15 back to back. And we're going to skip the ED for episode 14, but then we'll watch it for episode 15. And then we'll come back and discuss them both. So we're going to start our Hunter x Hunter journey, the next leg of the exam, hopefully. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's do it to it. Yeah. Uh-huh. The world at your fingertips. Mm-hmm. So excited. I'll be honest with you all. I don't quite remember what happens next. I don't quite remember what happens next. I talked in the spoiler corner for the last set that I have ideas of what's to come, but turn that sound down just a hair. I have ideas of what's coming next, but they're not crystal clear. Yeah. I wonder why it's called Hunter x Hunter. You know, I mean, I don't necessarily want to know the answer right now because I'm sure that's going to come out later, but just to speculate upon. I mean, we've examined so far that there are like 2 different classifications of how Hunter elects have handled things, like Kurapika and Leorio versus Gon and Killua, but I'm curious. It may be a question we ask ourselves as we go through this series. You know, with those cards there that Gon's gonna face Hisoka at some point. It's when in the context. All right. Yeah. This was such a great moment. I loved it. Yeah. Yes. Aw, he is special. Hit the target. What are we doing with this one? 24. We're down from like 405 to 24. Okay. No joke. Ah! Don't get my ship all up in here. Oh, this guy. That monkey, I swear. Oh, Leorio, you would get in there fourth Kurapika. Look at you. Hey, Lupo. So we have a fourth phase and a final phase. Okay. Zevil Island, in no way, shape, or form similar to Devil Island. Oh. Draw lots. Oh. I don't remember this. Oh. Oh, wow. Hisoka. Gon's like, he fought someone and probably killed them. Huh. Oh, God. What? Hanzo. So, is Leorio or Tompa going to be last? I don't remember. Yeah. They could be. Ha! So you better get ready. Killua. Too cool for school. Ha! I love Killua's attitude. I don't know if I would have that same attitude. What a weird box. His big old gangly legs. There's like 2 left. They're not really reacting to the cards, so what do we do with them now? Oh, there's a seal. Okay. That's fair. Oh. Oh. Oh, it's Hisoka, right. Oh. Ooh. That's why they said don't lose the ID tag. Okay, so there we go. That will make it easier. Right. I'd be afraid. Oh. Oh. Oh, bitch. Okay. So you don't have to take your target. You could just take tags from 3 people. Wow. We're going to talk about the moral efficacy of this. Zevil Island looking like a pair of testicles. Why, hello, Kara. Those two sitting next to each other. Quit it. Oh, well, what a nice consolation prize. If you don't die, you can come back next year. Yeah. Very depressing. It's almost like an insult. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. Does that mean kill each other? Or do you have to wait till the island? But we don't know who, other than Gon, we don't know who has what number. Naturally. Oh, Lirio! Could be if they just wanted your ID tag. Just for the point. You just need 3 others. Oh, that's so cute. I'll take anything I can get. Give me the crumbs. Gon's like, this. Yeah. Gon's like, I gotta go fight the creepy man. So you either take the target from the main person you've been assigned or 3 other people. Oh. They didn't take their target numbers off. They're both wearing them. Yeah. Aw. Nice. That would be what a 12-year-old would do. Ooh, yeah. The one killer was like, mm-mm. Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes on that one. Yeah, who was number 199? It's not Pinhead. It's not Hellraiser. Hmm. Oh, Gone. Yeah, about those dark tendencies. About those dark tendencies. No, that he's not scared. No, he's excited. Did you see a gleam? I saw a gleam. Ooh. So we think. I don't think you throwing your bobber in his face is going to work again. Don't jinx this, Gone. Ooh. Uh-huh. See? Killua just leaving him to trust him to his own devices. These two! These two! Love it! This is a cruel game. Devil Island. It is in no way, shape, or form like Devil Island. By copyright trademark, we can't call it that. Oh. Yeah. A week? Hunger Games be damned. What if Hisoka just stood there? Hisoka just stands there and waits for Gon to get off the boat. No. Right. It paid to get out of the tunnel early. Mm-hmm. It paid to be out early. You got 2 minutes to go find him and make out. Go on. 2 minutes. Hellraiser's head is shaking like that because of all the pent up sexual frustration. Interesting. I just love how much faith and trust they have in one another. And the fact that Killua's little skateboard is pointing in the direction. The fact that Killua is alone means he can just kill people and not care. Oh. Yeah, apparently. Mzevil Island. Interesting. Yeah, if you were good at jumping into trees, that'd be helpful. Ugh. Yeah. No. Let's not have a repeat of that again. Oh. Little Mowgli. Oh. Thought he was looking at the grass. Clever girl. Feels like Jurassic Park. He's gonna fire an arrow. I would fire an arrow. Yeah, if it were me. Gone. Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, it's a poison arrow. Oh, wow. Wow. And there he goes. Can't judge things by the surface, Gone. Oh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you've been fishing all your life, son. It is a little different. Gone is, if anything, very practical. I love he's created his own training arc. The fruits with the faces on them kill me. Aww. You can tell Gone's an only child. He created his own training arcs. He's used to, like, entertaining himself. He's gonna create, like, a string of apples to move. Yeah, aw. Our boy is so simple and sweet. Freaking Gone. Would you interrupt a cute little boy's training? Don't do that. He's ate some of the apples. That's funny. He just hit me. It was like, whoop. Oh, I like they did that. Oh, no, that's the worms to try to go fishing. Gon is just not concerned about everybody else on the island trying to take his tag. Was this free run? These birds minding their own business. F you! Bless his little heart. Ha. Meanwhile, some smooth jazz playing for Leorio. Ah, they're not going to show us. Meanwhile, Killua's on a pile of corpses. Like Hisoka's watching him right there. Possibly. Possibly. Oh, the little... That's so freaking cute! Gon's so cute! God, be louder so everyone on the island can hear you. Oh. Uh-huh. That's right. Think like a bird, Gon. Be bird-brained, Gon. You got this. Adhere to the circle of life, Gon. The fly got the fish. The bird got the fish. Gon is kind of scary for realizing all this at 12. The fish gets the fly. The bird gets the fish. Gon gets the bird. And Hisoka's been watching the whole time. Probably. This is a cute way to show the cycle. Oh! Oh, bitch. Okay, it was him. Are you going to be attacked? Is Gon your target? Gon! Is that already the end of the episode? Oh my god. Oh my god, that's already the end of the episode. Holy shit. Okay. Well, that went by insanely fast. So now we're gonna start episode 15. Holy cow. And we're gonna do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's go. We're already on episode 15. Episode 14 went by in a blur. An absolute blur. Holy shit. Time flies when you're watching a 12-year-old learn how to hunt. Interesting indeed. So we're gonna watch this OP here. Man, oh wow. So we really know, other than Killua looking for number 199, and now I don't remember numbers. Other than that, we don't know anybody's number of who they're looking for. None whatsoever. And we know that 199 is not Hellraiser, so unless Hellraiser got Killua's number, it'd be interesting if they met, but I don't remember if they do or not. I think what makes this arc hazier to me is also the fact that you can take someone's number that you got assigned, or you could just bypass all that and take 3 randos' numbers and call it a day. As long as you didn't lose your own number. Because if you lose your own, then you got to do like the person you're hunting plus 3 others. Not undoable, but a lot harder. And it's 24 people on an island, so it's not as congested as it was in the marsh. Gon's like, I'm really tired of having to face this guy. Yeah. In our last episode, Gon learned how to hunt. Aww. So basically, get a hold of Hisoka as he hunts you, right? The Explosion of Deception. Well, that's a nice title. Oh, it's been 1 day. Shut up. Stop it. This... Oh, wow. All his blisters. The fact that it was not the bird's blood, but his own blood on his hands. Oh. Oh. And, you know, heal your hand up. Well, if Gon's good at anything, it's his instincts. Are those corpse... Is it the blood? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Oh, Hisoka, you should do something about that shoulder. It's getting worse. Oh, wow. Ha! Yes, that's such a great idea. That's such a clever little idea. Also, putting butterflies on a fishing line is insane. Is insane. Are they going to take him to corpses? Oh. Oh, wow. Huh. Oh, Gon. Gon, sweetheart. That was so nice. He didn't have to do that. Oh, wow. That's interesting. I just can't get over the butterflies on a string. Only Gon. Only Gon would think of such things. That's why he's special. Oh. Oh, there he is. Oh. Is somebody gonna leap out before him? I don't like that. That's terrifying. Going without the light in his eyes is terrifying. No, I don't like that. Leroyo, with that white shirt, you are a walking... How do you know? Okay. No joke. Ah. Oh. Oh. The guy that has the arrows, right? Leorio! Tompa would be great. He knows everybody. What do you get out of it? Oh, no. Oh, God. He's like, do you got any medicine? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh. Ooh. Okay. Oh, wait, no. Ponzu. Oh, okay. I was thinking of the other guy. Oh. Leorio's always getting stuck with these female antagonists. Hmm. Uh. Oh. Oh, no. To be safe, I don't want you to shit on me, so back up. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, no, the monkey! Bitch! Oh, my God. Ah. Mother trucker. Mother fire trucker, an explosion of shit, explosion of diarrhea, explosion of deception. I kind of like him. I like him. I like him as Monkey. Don't forget your briefcase. Oh my god, Leorio. Leorio! Ah! Yes! Want to team up, bro? Well, please team up with Leorio. He needs all the help he can get. Oh my god. Oh my god. This does feel like Jurassic Park. Oh my god! Do not feed! I love them. Oh my god. Ah! The monkey! Oh no! Oh no, his bestie! I'll kill a boo if you don't give the tag back. Ah! Thank God. Okay. Oh. That's so funny. Ha! No joke. Oh, please. Yes. Right. Right. No joke. The shipper in me is living for all of this. Yes, please. Yes, please. Maybe if Gon or Killua need the tags, they can give it to them. Of course, Killua would be in the scary forest. Oh, bitch. Oh. Oh. Yeah, about that. Oh, bitch. You did. You did. That's terrifying. Maybe he's talking about somebody else. Oh, bitch. Oh, shit! That's a dumb idea. Yeah, no shit! He's not even your number, dude. Why would you go near him? The Spanish, like, tango cha-cha number, salsa music that goes with Hisoka is crazy. Imagine that working out in your favor, Gon. Dim damn neck muscles. Oh, shit. Ooh. Oh, my God. Oh, hemotropic butterflies. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh my God. Why is Hisoka's voice actor so amazing? He sounds so good. Bitch! Oh my God! Gon's like, what's this tension? Ooh. Oh. Oh, not the redhead. No. Was it a guy? Oh, we're getting it! I bet it would be for you! Ah! These two! Ah! Gon's like, that's the freakiest shit I've ever seen. So that's how it is. Well, we won't judge them. God, that was adorable. I'm already in love. I'm already in love. Okay. I thought that gunshot was from outside for a second. I was like, what is happening? I'm surprised he didn't notice Gon, or did he just avoid him? Huh. He can see you from up there. Oh, oh, oh. Game recognizes game. Oh, he only needs 2 more. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh! Ah! I'm so glad we got the Sailor Moon transformation. It wasn't quite a Sailor Moon transformation, but it was close enough. Oh my god. I live. Quit having your penis shine. Nobody likes that. Oh man. Ooh, buddy. Well, we actually have quite a little bit to talk about now. Man, I'm glad we watched episode 15 in this set. Could you imagine if we watched 13 and 14? Nothing against episode 14. Episode 14 is great in its own respect, but episode 15 has a lot happening. So I don't think I need whiteboard cue today, but we are going to be doing the screenshots side by side in comparison. Episode 14 was probably one of the lower key episodes, but I think in the grand scheme of the series, it's going to be one of those episodes where at the time, as we watch it, we're like, oh, it was just a simple little episode where Gon learns about hunting. In the grand scheme of the series, I do think that this episode is one we will look back upon and go, yeah, that was the start of things, you know? So it also makes sense of why you would have the recap before starting this, because this exam does harken back to a couple of things that were touched upon at the very beginning of the exam, like with Tampa knowing the people, knowing their numbers, knowing who they are, everything about them, especially about like Nicholas. So it's important we kind of touch back upon that. But I've refilled my tea. It's still hot. So we're going to go ahead and get started talking about this episode and go through. I am so glad I can talk about certain things now. We're still going to have a spoiler corner at the end, for sure. But I'm glad we can start talking about a couple of things. So let's get these screenshots loaded here. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's talk about this. So we do a brief recap to show. And Kurapika makes the note and observation that what makes Gon special is the fact of how he's able to observe and adapt to situations. And Gon is a special person. For a 12-year-old to be as perceptive and observative and be able to adapt and do things like Gon does, he is a pretty prodigy. I don't want to use the word prodigy around Gon because he's had to work for where he is, but he's got really good instincts. Instincts are kind of Gon's specialty, and he's really good with his instincts. So that does make him stand out. But yeah, this little precocious emblem here of Gon here, if I don't want this series to break our poor Gon. I don't want this to do that. And I think that's part of the series' goal, is to do that, is to show you why being a hunter is very not fun or good. So regardless, we're in the third exam phase. So this episode is called Hit the Target, episode 14. There's only 24 applicants left from 405, which is quite a downsizing. And so the third phase is going to be going to go to Zevil Island, which is in no way, shape, or form referring to this Devil Island. You know, I wonder if the Z was chosen because of Dragon Ball Z and Togashi being influenced by Toriyama since they were peers. Maybe, possibly. Although, if you think about it, if there had been more applicants that got through Trick Tower than the 24, it could have been a lot more chaotic. This is like, I think at this point in the series, and I'm going to talk more about it in the spoiler corner, so I'm not going to elaborate too much here. I think part of the reason why I wasn't remembering this part is because the setup of them all in the woods together felt very similar to the marsh of the first exam. And that similarity was making me go, I talked about how Hunter x Hunter is kind of like a Danmai a little bit in a previous episode. And if you don't know Danmai, it's like Chinese Donghua, Chinese BL. But in those series in Chinese fantasy, some of the stories I've read have had repeating elements or repeating locations in the series to where you kind of feel like you've gone in a circle. That's how I felt in this episode. I was like, okay, we're going back to the woods, kind of like the marsh, but a little bit different. And then we had the woods where they found the pigs with Minchi. So those elements being so close together kind of start to blur a little bit, which maybe that's the goal. Maybe it is to throw people off their game, or maybe this is all we had access to. Look at these two mother truckers. Look at them. Look at them. The blue hair, the red hair, the blue hair, the red hair, the pins, the green and the pink. I ship them so much. I cannot tell you all. I can talk a little bit about it now, but I ship them so much. My BL senses tingle every time they come on screen together. Like, and Togashi knows. Look, this is not in the spoiler corner, but his wife created Sailor Moon, which has the four kings of Queen Beryl, the four kings of the universe, and two of them are in a relationship. So I'm like, he was inspired. I'm very convinced. And I'm 100% here for it. We're going to talk more about it when we get to episode 15, but we're not ready yet. But yeah, I'm so glad to see the fruits of my labor pay off. Hisoka's wound, though, it's very minute in that shot there. By the time we get to the next episode, it's gotten worse. And Hisoka seems to be one of those characters where he doesn't want to show vulnerability or weakness. That's not Hisoka. He's like, I'm not vulnerable. I'm not weak. I'm fine. And so as he's like bleeding out in his arm, he's not drawing attention to it, but it's clearly there. So we'll see as we go. But yeah, so we get to see all the characters that made it through. I want to go back and see kind of like our remaining group. The first two were shown are Hisoka and contestant 301. Then we have Hanzo, and then we have the one guy with the fro, and then we have I thought that was Ponzu. That is not Ponzu. Then we have him. We have the other guy. He did. And then we have number 7. Number 8 is Ponzu. Lucky number 8. 9 is this. 9 is hot Leorio. Not that Leorio wasn't hot to begin with, but hello, Leorio's doppelganger, who had a modeling career, is number 9. So there's that guy. 10's dead. It's interesting that Hisoka's friend is comrade, brother in arms, sworn brother, Pinhead Hellraiser, said that they were male, but maybe it was just the translation. Maybe it was just the pronoun that was used in the translation, because I thought they were female. Guess it doesn't matter now. But we have 10 and 11, that guy. 12, number 12 is the guy that got poisoned. He's out. 13 is Monkey Man. Freaking love Monkey Man. He really grew on me in episode 14. I like him a lot. And episode 15. Then we have 16, 17, and 18, right? And then 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. and 26. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I miscounted. But anyway, there's 24. And then Lipo is like, thanks for getting out Trick Tower. Now y'all gonna go over here to Zevil Island where the 4th exam is gonna take place. We understand now there's one more exam after this. One more. Just one more. Just one more time. We're gonna celebrate if we can get past this one exam. This exam here is hard. It sounds simple, but we're going to talk about it here in just a second. When he brought this box out, for a second, it looked like a projector. I was like, are we about to have a projector? Or the way the arrows were on the box. I'll be honest with you all. I don't remember much of this phase at all. We're going to talk about it in the spoiler corner, but I was like, Romania doesn't remember much of this. So, we're going to talk about what I do remember when we get to it in the spoiler corner. But when they brought out that box, I'm like, is it a projector? Is it going to like jettison them a certain direction a la One Piece style? I'm like, what are you doing? So yeah, so they draw cards. I thought it was really clever that you draw out your ID, you draw out your card, and there's a seal on it. That's really clever. So you can't automatically start targeting people. Everyone gets the cards and they open them at the same time, and then they can decide what to do with their numbers. Gon and Killua, you could either call it them being naive 12-year-olds that they left their number tag on, or you can call it them just being badasses, whichever works for you. But they decide to keep the tags on regardless because they're like, Killua's like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. You guys are fine. Who's going to be the first person to come forward? It would be amazing if Killua collected like 8 badges and then just gave Gon 3 if he lost his. He was like, oh, I collected some extras. Here you go. I mean, it could happen. I don't know. But Hisoka draws number. We don't know whose number Hisoka draws. We can assume it's not Gon's because he doesn't target Gon immediately. He's just like, I just gotta get 3 people, whatevs. He doesn't even know who his target is, even though old number 301 definitely knows. When 301 having their head like a nutcracker, I was like, what are we doing? And then him just sticking the hand in. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about old Diglett hands here as he picks out the number and they end up getting it. What a bizarre character. I cannot wait. So yeah, everybody's got their cards and then they draw a number. And I like whenever Killua's like, Gon asks, what does it do? What do we do if we fight each other? And Killua's like, well, probably. I think that Killua and Gon would make it, if they had to fight each other, they would have made it such a game. They would have made it such a game. Let's be real. I've said there is a Goten and Trunks vibe with Gon and Killua, and there is. Don't get me wrong, there is. But there is kind of a little bit of, if you had alternate universe Goku and Vegeta. Just humor me. You have alternate universe Goku and Vegeta that met as kids. Kakarot and Vegeta met as children. This would be the dynamic I think they would have. Right? But you can also translate it to Trunks and Goten. It's their kids. It works both ways. But I just love their dynamic. We'll talk more about it when they're on the boat. But yeah, so everybody, and Killua looks so excited to get his card, and he just comes back with just pleased as punch, balancing the card on his hand, just pleased as punch, like, I've got this, I'm so cool. Killua puts on such a show in front of Gon. Gon is so simple and straightforward. Killua flips his hair and puts on such a show. I love Killua. He's great. But yeah, so everybody gets it. Leorio's like, you gotta pull the card with style. Leorio is such a disaster. Leorio is such a disaster character sometimes. There are times where when he's not trying, he can be so suave and so cool. Like when he was holding the guy on the edge and was being so cool in front of LaRoute. Like he wasn't even trying. It just was so good. But then when he tries to be suave, he's just such cringe. I'm like, Leorio, my sweet man. But I have to love him because he's like the everyman. What do we do? What do we do with him? So yeah, and then Tampa gets his card. And then they all remove the seal. And Hisoka's like, well, makes sense. And Kurapika's like, okay. And that indicates who your target is. And then everybody's hiding their badges. Now, Gon immediately knows that it's Hisoka. And Hisoka's wearing that badge just right out there in the open because he don't care. Fate has intervened. And Killua is concerned about Gon's target. But we're going to talk about it on the boat. But yeah, fate has intervened. Funny that. So yeah, so here's the rules. The rules sound very simple. Your ID tag is worth 3 points, and everyone else in your opponent's is worth 3 that you drew. You only need 6 points to pass the exam. So as long as you keep your badge, scenario 1 is that you keep your badge and you have your opponent's badge that you get by hunting them. Those are 6 points. Easy peasy. You just got to last the week, get on the boat, good to go. Option 2 is you keep your badge, or if you can't find the person over here you're hunting, everyone else's badges are worth 1 point each. Not your own, not your hunted, but everyone else is 1 point each. So if you can't find the person you're hunting or supposed to hunt, or worst case scenario, you find the person that's your target, but their badge has already been stolen by somebody else just looking for a 1 point badge, that would suck. Regardless of the situation, option 2 is you keep your badge for 3 points. You get 3 other people's badges for 3 points, 1 point each. You got your 6 points, you go. That's option 2. Option 3 is you lose your badge like Leorio almost did this episode set, and you have 0 points, and you've got to track down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people's badges individually and take. That's option 3. That'll get you on the boat, but that is probably the hardest option, is to track down and get 6 people, not including your hunted, but 6 people to make up your badge and then 3 other points. Option 4 is a little bit easier. If you lose your badge, you could get your target's badge, which is worth 3 points, and then you just got to find 3 extra people to make 6. So losing your badge gives you the 2 worst case scenarios, because then you either have to hunt 6 people down that are not your targets, or you have to hunt down your target plus 3 others. Neither of those situations are ideal in 7 days, especially on an island where 24 people can split up. Also, 24 people, your odds are, that's like a 1, you gotta track down an eighth of the island and get an eighth of the badges in 7 days. That's more than 1 badge per day. That's not good. No. Or even if it's just tracking down 4 people, that's still, not good odds. So you don't want to do that. That's like a 12th of the island. You still don't want to do that. So what you want to do is have your badge and either track down just the person you've targeted. That's the easiest. Or track down 3 randos and keep your badge. Those are the 2 easy scenarios. I'm going to tell you right now, before we even get to the spoiler corner, I don't know what happens with everybody's badges. Don't remember. Don't remember! Memory not there. No, image not found. I don't remember what happens at this point with the badges. So we're all going to find out together, which is fun. So yeah, now, Lippo does say you don't have to kill people. This is where I want to talk about the moral efficacy of everything. Because the one guy is like, oh, so we don't have to kill each other. Well, if we could all just get along. Let's just all fight each other like a shonen battle manga should be. We'll just get in a little battle, a little tournament arc. We'll fight each other, and then we'll just take the badges and go. Oh no. Lippo says, yes, you're free to choose any method that you want to steal the ID tags, including killing your target and taking the tag off the corpse. The Hunter Association it's funny we're bringing them back up in this episode after we just talked about them at length in the OP, or in the intro of this video. But the Hunter Association is, you would think, like a moral company or a moral association would be like, yes, you could kill people, but we encourage you not to. They don't do that. Again, the whole we are a neutral party, we're not interested in choosing sides. They're like, well, yeah, you can kill people, sure, go ahead. I'm like, advising that is interesting. And he's like, yes, you could take the tag off the corpse if you wanted to. And one guy I like the one brother says, well, that's the fastest way, is to just kill the kill the person and take it off their body. And the other brother's like, wait a minute. Thought we were saying we didn't want to do that. He's like, so what is this about? They're like, it's nothing to be scared of. And that's when he says there, your ID tag is worth the 3 points, and explains the point system. Yep. Also, like I said, every chance this mangaka gets, we're going to show Hisoka next to this guy. Every chance we get. You need 6 points to advance to the final phase. So while you're on there, you have to gather enough ID tags to enter and get the 6 points. That's the conditions for the exam. Yeah, again, the Hunter Association, I guess they're assuming if you're going to become a hunter, you have to hunt, be hunted, but there's a smart way to do it. I think it's interesting. They don't encourage the morality of it, but it's recognized, right? So I think something interesting is that we don't know what the final exam is going to be. So is there a possibility they're keeping track of how you got the tags? Did you kill anybody? Did you just take it off of them? Was your tag stolen? Does that make a difference? I don't think it's going to impact the exam because they start over after each one is finished, but I never know. So the island looks like a pair of sunglasses, pair of cherries, pair of testicles, pair of ovaries, whatever you want to do with it. But it looks also maybe like an hourglass. It has a little spot on it and then has the beach and everything. And then there's the two clusters of trees. An interesting layout. I'm going to be curious if we get to access that beach or the other small island. That'd be interesting. So then they get on this boat, this little ferry that takes them across to the Zevel's Island. And Kara's amazing. She's just like, welcome aboard. You guys made it to the fourth phase. Don't worry. If you survive and fail, you automatically get a seed into next year's competition. She's like, I'm sorry. She's like, I'm obligated by the Hunter Association to give this spiel. It's going to take 2 hours. So basically, the 24 of them have 2 hours to come up with what they want to do, what their plan is once they get there. You're automatically qualified for next year's exam. Isn't that exciting? So if you fail this year, don't feel bad. You can try again next year. And everybody's just like, womp womp. I mean, she's obligated to say this, but it's clear why everybody would be moody about that because, like, they've fought to the death to get to this point. They've possibly killed people at this point in the exam. And to fail now and start all over when you only have 2 phases left and there's only 24 of you, it's a lot. What do you want, buddy? So, anyway, so while we're on the boat, I will take any Kurapika and Leorio crumbs I can get. And we get quite a few of them in this episode set, which is great. I really thought we were just getting the boat set scene, but then episode 15 and what looks like to be episode 16, we're getting even more. So that's exciting. But yeah, so Kurapika is very wise. They're like, yeah, the battle's already begun. People are already thinking about what to do. And everybody just sits on the boat for the ferry ride. And I like Leorio's like, am I your target? And then Kurapika's like, no, I'm not. I love how expressive Leorio is in this moment. And Leorio is such a disaster in these episodes. I don't know what to do with him. I appreciate he's like our everyman, but I have forgotten how frustrating Leorio can be at times. And I guess it's good that he's that way because it would be a boring series if everybody was as chill and cool and badass as Killua. We can't all be that way. Same, we can't all be Kurapika. And Gon's precious and precocious, but we need somebody that's like an everyman to kind of balance out and make our troop not so OP. And if that's Leorio's cross to bear, then what can we do? He's the Wolfwood of our Hunter x Hunter. I don't know. He's not as stoic as Wolfwood, but he tries. But yeah, I thought these two were really cute. I like this scene with them on the boat where they're talking back and forth to each other. It was very sweet. And it kind of is a nice little setup for when they work together in the future. That was a lot of fun. And he's like, well, you're not my target. And I'm like, everybody on that boat can hear you, you know. It's just, and Kurapika smiling as he walks away. Like, they're just precious. I love them. I love these scenes that they have together. So then Killua and Gon talk about who their targets are. And they both are like, are you going to tell me your number? And he's like, nah. And then they decide to do it at the same time. I love how they're just sitting there like, are you going to say your number? No. Are you? No. And then they both like, they both are like, nah, just kidding. I freaking love Gon and Killua and their dynamic. I love it. They are so precious here. I love that shot of them. It's so cute. So I don't remember who number 199 is. I don't remember who they are. So they pull out their numbers. I don't remember number 199. I don't. But Killua notices immediately that Gon's target is Hisoka. And if we recall, back in the first exam, Killua was not back in the marsh. Killua did not want Gon near Hisoka because he recognized Hisoka's killing intent. The fact that Killua remembers Hisoka licking his lips like that should be subject enough. Yeah. So, but the thing that I like most about Gon and Killua though is that he says Gon has really bad luck, but what I like about this is in any other situation, you could have like these monologues of these two characters and like Killua being worried about Gon and monologuing about it and doing whatever. And that may happen later on in the series. As these two get closer, they may start to like monologue about each other and we can see their thoughts. Killua's kind of being kept close to the vest a little bit because even though we know he's from an assassin family and we know a little bit about him, we don't know a lot about Killua. So his entire backstory is kind of being kept. We're not getting a lot of one-on-one time with Killua because he's a little bit mysterious still at this point. But what I like about their dynamic is how much trust is already between Gon and Killua. Killua, even though he's a little bit concerned about Gon, back at the marsh, Killua had just met Gon and he wasn't quite sure of what Gon was capable of. And so being around Hisoka, Killua was like, you need to get away from him. And he was like moving Gon away. Now that time has passed and Killua has seen what Gon is capable of, even though he's a little bit wary of Hisoka, you can already see how much his dynamic has changed, where now he's like, okay, this guy's creepy. You have bad luck because it sucks to face him, but I trust that you're going to be able to handle it. If Killua was worried, he would have wanted to stick around Gon a little bit longer to make sure he was okay. But Killua's like, I'll go do my thing, you do your thing, and we'll meet back up at the end. Like, that trust that they have for each other is so valuable, and it's so awesome. I love it. I love the fact that Killua has already developed more of a trust towards Gon and his abilities. It's great. He's like, I didn't bother to memorize anybody's number. I started checking tags, but everybody removed them. It's so lame. He's like, we kept our badges on because we're not afraid, you know? So, but I love both of them. And then this is the part where he's like, he looks at Gon and Gon is like shaking. And there's this gleam in his eye. And here's the thing. We talk about Gon having a little bit of scary quality to him. And back when it was him and Hisoka having that brief match with each other, there was a little bit of a similarity between Gon and Hisoka, which is maybe the dark tendencies that commenter was talking about. And I was like, that Killua might enable in the future. Please, no spoilers. We'll see. But this gleam in his eye is a little concerning because, like he says, it is him being scared. But there's also like an excitement to Gon because Gon's curiosity, again, he's like Goku. He wants to fight. He just doesn't realize it yet. And it's like, because he's like, Gon, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I went into like somewhat bloodlust mode. Are we okay? And he's like, are you happy or scared? And he says, well, I'm actually kind of both. The fact that you're happy and scared is slightly concerning. I'd be slightly concerned if happy was a quality that you were having right now or an emotion you were sharing. He's like, in a straight up fight. I like that he talks about in a straight up fight, he knows he would lose against Hisoka. He already knows. He's like, I know that I actually have a chance. And that's the scary part. He's like, because I'm a little scared that I'm getting hyped up at the option that I have. And Killua's like, Killua, who's an assassin, who probably knows that feeling all too well, is like, yeah, I get it. I get why you would feel that way. And this gets me where he gets up and he's like, well, let's do our best. And he's like, make sure you stay alive, Gon, and I'll see you on the other side. And we'll meet back up at the ship. That trust, right? I think that if we were back during the days of the marsh, Killua would not be reacting this way. But because they've been through so much already in this exam, he already knows that Gon is probably going to be fine. And Killua doesn't have to worry about him. I love that dynamic. I love it. I love how it's developed between them. It's so nice. So yeah, then we get to the island. I like the idea of them calling them out with a 2-minute leeway head start. It is a good advantage to give I like the idea that the way that you got out of Trick Tower, the order in which you succeeded in the third phase made a difference in the fourth phase. I like that because up until this point, there hasn't really been an advantage for finishing early. I mean, in the first exam, there wasn't any advantage. They all started towards the marsh at the exact same time. When they got to Minchi, they all kind of left at the same time, and then they went and got the eggs at the same time, so it didn't really matter. So the Trick Tower was really the first part of the exam where the order in which you finished made an impact on the next phase. Now, whether this phase, I don't know if there's going to be a point system where the more points you get, do you have a leg up in the next phase? I don't know. I don't remember. So anyway, they call everybody up. Hisoka just goes sits under a tree. You don't even care. He's just like, whatever. Hisoka, this is the thing. You could play this a number of ways. I mean, honestly, the easiest thing to do is just find 3 people, take their badge, and go back and wait on the boat. Or hide and wait on the boat. That's the easiest thing you could do. The easiest thing you do is find 3 randos, 3 people you think you could beat in a fight. There's 24 of you. Surely there's 3 people you think you could beat in a fight. If not, then that's bad for you. You need to just find the person that you're targeting and worry about them. So there's multiple ways to do it. Hisoka's so strong. He literally is like, I'll just find 3 people I want to hunt that I feel like it and go from there. Unfortunately, the 3 people that he seems to be targeting are Gon and Leorio and Kurapika. So that's not good. No. But yeah, so everybody goes out and then Gon's like, okay, here I go. And we focus on Gon the rest of the episode. And when he's up in the tree, and especially when he's like, how do I steal Hisoka's ID tag? Gon remembering Hisoka in a very creepy format is pretty appropriate. Glad he's remembering how scary Hisoka is. And he's like, how am I going to do it? And this moment right here, where he like spun around, it felt very Jungle Book. It was giving me like Mowgli Jungle Book vibes. And I like how it's kind of symbolic of Gon trying to imagine his scenario in a different way. And that leads him to the idea of practicing and training to get the tag. But before we can go any further, we see he learns from a bird's eye view, which is funny because he hunts birds later on in the episode. The one guy getting targeted by our archer, and he successfully got... Honestly, I think he has a great advantage. Having the bow and arrow, doing anything that's long range in a competition portion like this would be really beneficial. And long range with poisons is really beneficial as well. Now, Tampa said that 4 of the contestants of the 24 used chemicals. So, and Ponzu was one. Do we count the poison on the arrows as a chemical? Do we count that as one of the 4 of the 24? I don't know. I think he did a great strategy. The bow and arrow would have been a really good strategy. And I was getting all the Jurassic Park Velociraptor vibes. Gon almost seems in this moment to kind of be, it almost felt like Gon wanted to say something and call out to the guy so he didn't get hit, but he didn't. I think that's worth noting. Again, should Gon have called out? No, because that would have drawn, well, what do you think? Should Gon have called out? If that's kind of the part about the hunting and the hunted in this episode that was interesting to me, is that up until now, Gon has been very much this paragon of, I say paragon of virtue. He was totally fine with Killua killing that guy, but but he was, is a murderer. So, was it justified that all these moral questions are going to start coming into play? But I would Gon from episode 1 have watched this guy get shot with the arrow without trying to do something or say anything. I don't know. I really don't. If he would have stepped in or not. He almost wanted to. He looked like in this moment like he wanted to say something. But as much as we, the audience, may have morally wanted him to step in, logistically, that would have been a nightmare. Like, no, Gon is not a long-range fighter guy. He is like, he needs to be up close with you to have more of a shot. And being up against his archer would have been terrible. But it does beg the question, like, you're in this watching people you see in front of you potentially get killed. What are you going to do? I think Gon makes up for it later on because he patches up his wound and leans up against a tree because Gon is, again, a little paragon of virtue. So I feel by the end of it, he makes right, and it wasn't his battle to begin with. It's just interesting to watch him just stand there and watch this go down because what else can he do? Sure, he could get involved. He could, interfere, but what does that mean to interfere at this point? I think there's some interesting questions to be raised with it. But yeah, also, I think it speaks morally for his character as well that the arrows were poisoned with a tranquilizer. Because again, they said you could get the badges anyway. And the one guy in the Huey, Dewey, and Louie trio, he was like, oh, we could just kill people. I'm like, that's raising some moral questions. You'll just kill people. But this guy at least is trying to be a little bit moral about it. He's like, yeah, I tranquilized you, but now you'll at least live. So there's that. I think that speaks a lot for his character, which is interesting at this point. But yeah, he takes the number and then goes. And Gon is like, oh, so that's what it means to hunt. Our boy Gon, he's so used to being back home where all you do is put worm on a bait and fish. Fishing's a little bit different than hunting. It may seem like it's not, but it's a little bit different than hunting. And Gon's like, I'm a fisherman, and now I need to learn how to hunt. He's like, this is what I need to do. This is really cute. The rest of this episode is just kind of cute in like a dark way. I mean, he's hunting someone for a badge, but it's done in the most adorable way. Like the little apples he's like, I have to sneak up on him without being noticed. He's like, and then I wait for my chance. The little apples with the funny faces on them are really kind of cute. And the fact that he eats some of them. And he's like, well, but Hisoka's probably going to be moving around, so I need to make moving targets. You can tell Gon is an only child because he's able to keep himself amused. You could tell he's been on Whale Island thinking up games to play by himself, which makes me feel very sad for him and glad that he's found Killua. But you could tell he's made up a lot of games to keep himself occupied. And Gon just creates his own training arc. He's like, I'll just do it myself. I am fascinated by the fact that this guy with the fro buns did not try to attack Gon. I'm fascinated by that he didn't try to attack him. I don't know if that's going to come back later or if Gon is his target. I don't know, but I'm amazed that he didn't do anything. I wonder why, and I wonder if that's going to come back. Because you would think he would have, especially because Gon is not being subtle about being wore out and then going to sleep somewhere. Also, when this frog popped up and he was like, oh. This poor frog. He's like, bitch, I didn't ask for anything. And so then he tries to go. I like that he puts the tape around the hooks so that he won't hurt any of the things that he snags. Because Gon is precious and just a perfect little guy. He's like, I'm going to be, if I can catch a bird, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. If you can fish a bird, you can get Hisoka's badge. It's great. We cut quick to Leorio for a hot second, where he doesn't know whose number is who. Kurapika is doing fine on his own. Killua is probably going to murder half the island. And Gon's like, I didn't think this would be so hard. But yeah, now here's the thing. He was being watched, and there was someone with that boot. Now that boot, was that Hisoka? I'm going to go back and look at Hisoka's shoes. The ends of them look like Hisoka, but was it the guy with the fro, or were those Hisoka's boots? We're going to see in a little bit. But yeah, Gon just practicing his heart out, and then he thinks and is reminded of the circle of life. The flies attract the fish attract the birds. It's this circle of predator and prey relationship of how they hunt one another, and Gon has to look at it from the terms of predator and prey. And this 12-year-old has learned how to hunt. Gon learns pretty fast. He learned it in a day. He learned the entire concept of it in a day, which is a wee bit scary for our 12-year-old Gon. A wee bit scary indeed. But yeah, so he decides to hunt for the bird. He gets super excited. And meanwhile, this guy, was this guy the one with the shoes? Okay, it is. Yep, never mind. It's still him. He's still there. He's still there watching, but isn't attacking Gon. I don't understand why. He mastered the trick that would help him hunt Hisoka. But Gon was also being hunted. I don't know. Is he going to pop out at the last minute to take Gon's badge after Hisoka wears him down? I don't know. I guess we'll see. But anyway, we're going to get to episode 15 now. All right, so then we have episode 15. And episode 15 kicks off a lot more than 14. Like, 14 was cute. I liked Gon learning about the art of hunting, about predator and prey relationships. It was very fun. It was cute. I will never turn down a Gon training arc. I will never turn it down. It's super adorable. But this episode takes it to the next level. So, we have Gon. He's been improving on his technique. He finally did it. He's a freaking ray of sunshine. Just look at him. And he's like, now what do I do now that I've caught the bird? And I'm sorry, but the ultimate symbol of Gon being this little paragon of virtue is him taking the bird and just letting it free. And the fact that the blood on his hands is not from the bird at all. Because at first I was like, oh, did the bird get hooked? No. The fact that it's not the blood on his hands from the bird, but from his blisters and from him swinging so much. This sweet boy, like, them hands are going to be calloused so hard by the end of this, but bless his heart. He's been working so hard. He's like, but all I have to do is find Hisoka. And I like when he clenches his fist. He's like, oh, and it still hurts. This little guy's so precious. Hisoka, don't do anything creepy to him, please. So then we have the hemotophic butterflies, which whenever the butterflies started to dance around him, I thought that maybe there was a corpse nearby, because I live out in a rural area and I grew up on a farm, and I'm used to seeing, like, when you grow up on a farm, animals die. Unfortunately, that's like the nature of the game. And I'm used to, as a kid, seeing that there are butterflies. Butterflies gather on corpses. They do. Especially like monarch butterflies. They're all about them corpses. So usually if there was a dead animal, you could see butterflies on it. Which is like very creepy and morbid, but also like this, like, there's this beauty to it. It's about this circle of life. It's crazy. But I love the idea that these butterflies that are red being attracted to the blood. And then for a 12-year-old kid to realize that Hisoka has a wound, I can tie fishing lines around these damn butterflies. That's insane. That's insane. Now, realistic? No. If you've ever been around a butterfly, like, if you touch a butterfly's wings, they won't be able to fly because your fingers have too much grease on them. All right? So the concept of Gon getting a fishing line around a butterfly is like the most unrealistic thing. Watch somebody post a video of like Mythbusters proving that you can wrap like fishing line around butterflies, and I'll be like, oh, well, whatever. But I do like that it cuts straight to Hisoka with his wound's gotten worse. I wish Hisoka would care about that wound. Can he not feel pain? Is Hisoka incapable of feeling pain? I don't know. I wish he'd look closer at that wound. It seems to be a problem, but I really like that shot though. That screenshot's really, really good. So then he gets his phone out, his little walkie-talkie, and it's his boo from across the island. These guys just sexting out here. Having phone sex in the woods. The moment he had that pin in his hand, I was like, okay, does he have the ability to take those pins out and use them to throw at people like darts? And then when you saw the scope on him, I was like, he's going to throw that pin right into the scope. And then I forgot about it. So when it went back and he did it, I was like, shit, he actually did it. So he asked Hisoka, he's like, do you even know who your target is? Also, hearing this guy speak for the first time is wild. Although we have heard them on the walkie-talkie, and he's like, no. He's like, do you want me to tell you? My thing is, how does he know? How does he know who the target is? Unless, maybe, here's the thing. Is this guy kind of like Tompa, where he had everybody memorized? Does he? And Hisoka's kind of like Leorio or Killua. Hisoka's kind of like Killua. He's like, I don't care what he looks like. I'll figure it out. He's like, I'll just take 3 random ones. Okay. So, in any case, Gon's walking around with these butterflies on leashes like a damn dog. Because Gon's just innovative like that. And who does he end up finding? He finds the body of the guy that got hit by the arrow. Gon is too nice to just leave him. He patches it up and he's like, good luck next year. Sweet, precious angel baby Gon doing all that. And then he goes next to... I like that he just takes a pit stop and lets the butterflies get on, like, the corpse of the animal. Again, Gon is a farm kid. He grew up on an island that's very rural. So he's probably used to animals dying and the circle of life, that's just part of it. He's not fazed by it. And it seems kind of morbid to say that, but if you grow up in those situations, you are kind of desensitized to it. So it kind of makes sense. This is a really good shot. I like this shot of Gon as well. It almost would be the thumbnail, but I don't know. There's some other good shots in this episode. But then he gets led straight to Hisoka, which is wild that he got him there. Now, he's sitting there wondering what to do, targeting Hisoka, and Hisoka's just kind of in this meditative state, staying calm as well. I wonder if Hisoka is kind of like Gon in this moment, where Hisoka knows he's been hurt and he's trying to stay calm so he can like keep things regulated. That's a very good possibility. But the moment that Gon's eyes like lose the little gleam and he kind of goes into this trance where he's just focusing, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I've not seen enough of this series to know exactly where Gon's character goes in it, but I don't like that. That little meditative, it makes him seem on par with Hisoka. It makes him and Hisoka seem like they're in the same state, and I don't know how to feel about that. I'm like, I just don't know. But in any case, we cut from Hisoka and them back to Leorio. Again, Leorio was a disaster in this episode. I'm sorry, but I'm like, I would not have believed anything Tampa said, even though it was pretty convincing. But him having like the stomach medicine and stuff, and he's like, well, here's who my target is. He's like, oh, that's Ponzu. I'll tell you everything you need to know about him as long as you give me some medicine. So we find out that Leorio's briefcase has all of his medicines in it. Now, did he leave the briefcase behind when they went after, when he went after Tampa and the Monkey Man? Did he leave his briefcase behind? I don't remember. I hope he didn't. I hope he kept that briefcase. That could be somewhat important. I think he did, because he got the button back and put it back in the little sleeve in the briefcase that it was in. So he did go back and get the briefcase. So that's good. But yeah, so we find out that Ponzu is just hiding, waiting, and has some chemicals that she can use if you get into a trap with her. So I don't know if they're going to find Ponzu, but it seems like she's not much of a fighter. She just has some weapons to help defend herself. So yeah, and just as he gets in the briefcase, then comes Monkey Man. I really like him. Do we get to see what else is in his briefcase when he like opens it up? We see some Band-Aids, some medicine. The monkey jumps down. Then here comes that guy. And I want to see, did we see it? Okay, we saw like some medicine stuff in his packet. I like the Monkey Man. The animation for this scene was really, really good. And just him and the monkey working together, it's really cute. I love it. He's like, your tag is mine. And Leorio, you should have known Tampa was going to try to trick you. And he's like, buddy, I'm going to kill you. So yeah, the monkey is so cute. I actually kind of love them. They're kind of amazing. I like them as a duo a lot. Ridiculous. So yeah, so Leorio chases after him. The Monkey Man is getting away, and Kurapika's like, look, I'm all for working in teams, but not for you tricking people. Kurapika is such a great balance to Leorio's disaster. I love it. The grace and the disaster. I love it. I live. They're so good together. And I did not remember this at all, them teaming up. So he's like, you want to team up? And he's like, sure. It definitely feels like, especially with the knowledge that Hisoka has seen them from on top of the hill, this feels like the Marsh 2.0. Maybe that's why I don't remember this, because I'm confusing these scenes together. We'll see. We'll see how next week goes with that. But yeah, so meanwhile, these little gerbil mice show up, and poor Tompa got the snot beat out of him. Then they go back to get the monkey. This man's weakness is that he relies too much upon his monkey. And Kurapika's like, if you want to see this monkey live, you're going to give us back the badge. Kurapika's good at threatening, right? I love it! It's great! And then, yeah, all these rabbits and things show up. And also, that man's legs were, like, tied up backwards. Like, stretched backwards. That would hurt so bad by the end of sitting there for so long like that. That would hurt so bad. No, that's cruel. That is torturous, leaving him in that position. Okay, so yes, Leorio got his suitcase back. We have the tags for number 16 and number 1 and 18 as well. So Tompa was Kurapika's target. Kurapika is technically good to go as long as they keep their badge. Leorio has a point. He just needs 2 more. Unless he finds his target, which is Ponzu. So we shall see. But yeah, they decide that it's easy to work as a team. And they're like, we should just work together, and then that should be fine. We'll just find your target, Ponzu. I love them working together. It's so sweet. I will take any and all Kurapika and Leorio shipping crumbs at this moment. So getting this in this episode was a surprise, and I'm here for it. Speaking of shipping crumbs, we're not there yet. So Killua's in this dark part of the forest where it almost looks like he has night vision. And he's like, you've been following me since the beginning, so show yourself. Whenever Killua, like, Gon has that 1,000-yard stare when he's waiting on Hisoka, but Killua having his assassin stare is terrifying. Nope. And I don't know who the guy is. Is it the guy that looks like Leorio? Is it him? Or is it one of the triplets? I think it might be either one of those. If it's one of the triplets, here's the thing. If the triplets go after Killua together, Killua could take all 3 of them out and just take their points. Just saying. So yeah, so Gon just sitting there looking through that little tiny peephole and just waiting for him, like letting everything around him desensitize and like vanish. It's creepy. It's very creepy. But then Hisoka's like, all right, if you're not going to come out, I'm going to come to you. And we think it's the biggest fake out. We think it's going to be Gon. And I was like, is it going to be Gon? And then it's this other guy. But here's the thing. The other guy, who almost outed Gon from his position. Thank God Gon crouched low enough. Oh my God. The thing is, this guy had been battling with Hisoka's comrade and got mortally wounded. And it was just a matter of time until he died. But he went to go find and face Hisoka. And he challenged him to duel, and Hisoka's like, you're going to die. And Hisoka knows he's going to die because he could tell the wound, like, right off the bat. Crazy. So, yeah, I love it. And Gon's like, this is my chance. While the fish is hunting the fly, he's like, I'm going to hunt the fish. And it's like, well, that would have worked, but I'm glad Gon didn't come out because the crazy thing was that, yes, this guy was the fly, Hisoka was the fish, Gon was the bird, but the other dude was the fishing rod. So if Gon had came out, he would have been screwed because Hisoka's sworn brother-in-arms would have shown up. That is wild. Also, Hisoka just being just insanely calm while avoiding the attacks. He's like, well, you're going to die. There's a swarm of hemotropic butterflies around you. That wound is grave. He's like, I understand your desire to die in battle. And he's like, well, if you understand so well, why do you refuse to fight? And he's like, I don't fight dead men. I was like, oh my God, that was brutal. And then he says, bye-bye. I will give this. Hisoka can be so creepy. He can be so creepy. But his voice actor's voice is so smooth, especially in this episode. I'm not swooning for Hisoka, but his voice actor is amazing. I'm like, damn, he can deliver a line. So then that guy dies, and that's when he gets hit with the needle. Now, let's keep in mind for a hot second, shall we? Let's keep in mind for a hot second. Did Hisoka's sworn brother in arms need to do this? No, the guy was gonna die. Hisoka said that. I'm sure the other guy heard. He was gonna die. Hisoka didn't even break a sweat. This guy did it because he wanted to. And I'm like, that is shit behavior, y'all. That is shit behavior. And then he comes out and he's like, well, that was my target. I carelessly let him escape. And Hisoka's like, liar. I'm sorry. I would read every fan fiction with these two in it. I would read it in a hot second. I would devour it. I would consume it like you all would not believe. He's like, he probably begged you to grant him the opportunity to face me. He's like, oh, I felt sorry for the guy. I'm like, the two of them talking the way they do, their dialogue, it's insane. He was dead. Look, I'm going to be real with you all. They give Gon and Killua vibes. They give Gon and Killua vibes. 301 gives Killua vibes. And Hisoka and Gon give kind of the same aura as well in a weird way. Hisoka is just, it's literally like 301 and Killua give off the same like vibes. And especially with their actions towards each other, towards Gon and towards Hisoka. And even though Hisoka and Gon are very, 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 very different, they're kind of like two sides of a similar coin, right? Just especially their reaction after facing each other the first time, they have just a similar aura. Only Hisoka's is negative and creepy as F, and Gon's is precious. But it's still kind of a pure aura in a sense, right? Wild. And Gon's just sitting there watching this all go down like, am I supposed to watch this? Am I supposed to be here? He says, you should cease pitting enemies who serve no purpose. And he's like, well, you've done it before, haven't you? You've walked away from opponents before finishing them. He's like, I have standards. Like, oh my God, this is like bedroom pillow talk. And Gon's like, what the fudge? Like, Gon's had to witness all of this. I'm not interested in people who have no purpose. I only spare those whose deaths would go to waste. So basically he's saying that Gon was not ready to die. He deserves a better death later on. Fair. He's like, well, what about his tag? He's like, oh, I already took it. I have 6 points now, so I don't need this one. You can have it. So he gave, he's like, whose tag is this? And he's like, it's the assassin's. He ticked me off, so I killed him. Well, again, very similar vibes to Killua. Interesting. And then, I said in the spoiler corner a few episodes ago that I thought that in my mind, if I was remembering correctly, I thought this character pulled the pins out of their head and had a Sailor Moon-esque transformation. I was not far off. They pull a pin out and their hair changes colors and Gon's like, what is happening? And then they pull all their pins out. It's the reveal of the century. Their face combobulates back to normal. And Ahsoka's like, this is always so fascinating to watch. Oh, meaning that they've been together before. This has happened before. This has been a thing before. You two have worked together before. And then the hair falls down. And then they end up being absolutely adorable. They're really, this is so weird to say, but they look really cute. The big giant soulless eyes. Okay, this is what they look like. There was an unfinished movie. Okay, I'm going to look it up really quick. It was The Thief and the Cobbler. Am I right? It's from 1993. Yes, The Thief and the which is really funny because, okay, The Thief and the Cobbler was this unfinished movie. And in that movie, The Thief and the cobbler who makes shoes in there has all of these sewing needles like in their mouth that they carry all the time. Kind of reminding me of this character, but the way that their eyes are, there's just something about their design that reminds me of The Thief and the Cobbler. I cannot explain it otherwise. But they're like, oh, I feel much better. And they're just holding all these, like, darts, these pins and needles. Now then, just like he put his hand in the box, he just goes, dig, 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 and just, like, with his hands, like spades, just starts digging a hole in the ground. And Hisoka just sits there watching it like, I'm fine with this. And then he just digs a hole in front of Hisoka. That, I'm sorry, that shit right there is the cutest thing I've ever seen. That's so freaking cute. Why is it so cute? I'll just sleep here until the final day. What? He's just like a little vampire, like a little vampire Diglett. He's like, I'm just going to hang out here underground and sleep here for like the next few days, and then I'll get out and we'll be cool. Okay? Sound good? Bye. Gon and Killua vibes. Why is it so cute? It's adorable. I cannot explain how adorable this guy is. I'm so sold. And then he's like, good luck. I want all the fan fiction. And Hisoka's like, whatever. I want all the fan fiction with them. I love them together. I'm shipping them so hard. I freaking love them. And Gon's like, well, that was the scariest, weirdest thing I've ever seen. Gon's like, I'm not judging him. Okay. So then Hisoka's like, well, I guess I'll decide to leave. Killua's still walking around. Okay. Oh, okay. So it is him. It is one of Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and Tweedlethirds. It is one of them. He was the one. Now, this is important. This guy that's following Killua, he was the one that did not want to kill anybody. It was the brother that wanted to kill them. So I think that's important to remember. He was the one that just wanted to take the badges and go. All right. We'll see how that goes. That means his brother's far behind, but I think Killua will be fine. But yeah, so Leorio and Kurapika, they are telling each other to keep their guard up. Hisoka's like, well, I should go find somebody to hunt now that I know that my boo is safe. And Gon's like, I'll get him. So he follows him. Now here's the thing. Hisoka has the high ground. He can clearly see Gon from where he is. But instead, who he looks at instead is Leorio and Kurapika, because he's like, oh, I've faced you two before, and I know I can beat Leorio in a fight. I'm pretty sure I can beat the other one in a fight too. That's a problem. Yeah, that's a really good shot of Hisoka, actually. I don't like it. I don't like it. He's like, I found you. Oh, dang. So yeah, Hisoka's targeting Leorio and Kurapika, and Gon is targeting Hisoka, which can still work out in Gon's favor. While Hisoka is fighting Leorio and Kurapika, Gon could snag the badge from him. We'll just have to see, but that's a really good shot at the end. There are 4 days remaining. So the one guy is just going to sleep for 4 days. All right. Legit. That's a really good shot. That might be the thumbnail, because that's just a really good shot of them all together, of him and Hisoka. That might be the thumbnail. I kind of like that one better, but oh, I'm glad episode 15 happened, and I like that it's explosion of deception. Although no deception between Hisoka and his friend, just between Tompa and Leorio. But what a great episode. I am so hyped for episode 16 and 17 now. Ooh, I'm so glad we're past that recap. I'm glad we're into this. I'm going to talk a few spoilers. Nothing crazy, just some spoilers. But if you're not sticking around for the spoiler discussion, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Make sure to let me know how you thought about the episode set down below. Please tag spoilers if you got them. But otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Hunter x Hunter. I'm so glad that we're here! I'm so glad. I am so glad that we are too. Hisoka and the one who is Killua's brother. We're going to talk about it in a hot second, but I'm like, I think it's Illumini. I think Illumini is his name. If it's not, we're going to find out at some point soon, but Illumini, I think, is his name. They look nothing alike. The best part about it is that Killua and his brother look nothing alike. I was trying to remember when we saw his eyes. I'm like, are his eyes blue? No, they're pitch black. What a character design. What a freaking character design. We're going to talk a little bit more about it here in a second, but I'm like, I'm so glad I can finally talk about it. I was like, yes, it happened. It happened. It was a lot more Sailor Moon-esque and magical when I remembered it than it is now, but maybe he puts the pins back in. I don't know. Maybe he does it and then reveals himself again to Killua. I don't know. We had to see him, so what the fudge. I'm curious. We're going to talk about it. I'm curious what people's impressions first were when that happened. Like, what is happening? So anyway, I'll be honest with you all. I do not remember this at all. The only things I do remember are that I remember Ponzu. Ponzu's in a cave, I think, on the island. And I want to say that I don't know if Leorio and them stumble upon Ponzu or if she gets her badges from someone else while she's hiding. I don't remember. I just remember for some reason her being in a cave or like a ditch or a foxhole or something. That's all I remember, and I'm probably wrong, but that's why I remember Ponzu. So when he said her name and they drew the picture of her, I'm like, I think I remember her being in the island and she's like hid herself away, but I don't quite remember. And I realized what I've been doing. I was confusing during the Marsh episodes. I was confusing events in the Marsh with events in this. I'm pretty sure that maybe Gon and Killua stumble upon Hisoka doing some creepy stuff in this episode that's coming up, in this battle that's coming up. I don't remember. Maybe. But I was also in the episode where Hisoka fought Leorio and Kurapika. I think some of the stuff that happens there, I was confusing with what's going to happen next week. So we're going to see what I remember and don't remember. But I think because the March episode is very similar to Zevil Island, I was getting them a little bit mixed up. But yeah, I do remember that I think the three brothers try to gang up on Killua and it does not bode well for them. I think that's what I remember, but I'm still a little fuzzy on this arc, if I'm being honest with y'all. I don't remember how they handle the badge situation. I really don't. So I do think Gon gets Killua's badge, but I don't remember exactly how or if it's from the match. I think I remember Hisoka getting pissed. He gets pissed that Gon takes his badge. I think I do remember that. So we'll see what happens next week with that. If that comes to fruition or not. His boyfriend can't help him because he's buried under the ground like a freaking vampire. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I will say it does make it a little confusing if you're trying to remember, because you're in multiple boats in this first part of the series. You're in multiple woods in the first part of the series. So some of the arc portions kind of blur together a little bit. I don't know if it was just Togashi getting their footing and deciding what they wanted to do, but it's fine. It works overall. I freaking love Kurapika and Leorio. They're so great. Leorio, I forgot how frustrating he is at this first part. There is a turning point for Leorio. I can't remember exactly where it is, but there is a turning point for him where I was like, oh, you're such a badass. And the part in the prisoner matches was like one portion of it, but then he screwed it up during the gamble. It's going to come back and he's going to prove himself, but he is a little bit of a hot mess, these episodes especially. But yeah, now I'm going to be real with you all. That's why I was kind of being hesitant about Gon's darker side. We see portions of it here in this episode set, but I don't remember. To be real with you all, the parts I really remember from the series are Gon versus Hisoka in the battle tower, which I think is the 5th exam. Maybe. I don't quite remember. We're going to find out. I remember Gon and Hisoka's card fight in the battle tower. I remember that. We're going to get to that. And the Phantom Troop is mainly about Kurapika. It's Kurapika's story. So past the Phantom Troop, I remember Bisky, and that's the main thing. And then we'll talk about that arc when we get to it, because I was like, but we're not there yet. So, but that's really all I remember. So I've never seen Gon get really down on his luck and in dire straits, except maybe the fight with Hisoka. And we'll get to that when we get to it. But I've forgotten any dire straits with Gon. So I'm going to be kind of encountering them for the first time with you all, if I'm being real. But yeah, so a lot of this did not remember. Did not remember going hunting with the fishing pole. Now we get to this episode. The only part I remembered was old boyfriend McGee revealing all the pins and taking them out. So that's a thing. Also, one thing worth noting is that as he's been taking pins out more and more to fight with, they've been regaining their looks more and more, which is interesting. Because he's an assassin, I can't remember if he's modified his body and that, I mean, obviously he's modified his body to where acupuncture changes his physical appearance, but I can't remember if he's like modified his body to the point where he's like replaced organs or something like that, because I think part of their family has done that. I think that's a thing. I don't think that Killua knows his brother's here. I also don't think he knows that his brother is Hisoka's boyfriend. So they're so shippable. I'm sorry. If you don't ship, I apologize. But Hisoka and 301, which I think is Illumini, they're so shippable. Like Hisoka tolerates that man so much, and they are like such divas. Like such I need a drag queen duo to be Hisoka and Illumini. I need them to do it. I need them to do drag as both of them. Can they do it, please? The pink and the purple, the black and the red hair, the nails. I need it done. I need it done, please. And thank you. Can we do this? But anyway, Gon is terrifying like that. I do think he is. I'm like, That's why him and Hisoka are such interesting people to go up against each other. Forgot about this whole thing with Tampa. Forgot about all that. Glad Monkey Man is around. Glad he didn't get killed yet, so that's good for him. I like him. I don't remember what happened to him, but I really like his character. He's fun. And then, yeah, Kurapika helping Leorio. I will never turn that down. But y'all, I'm sorry, but Killua's brother being there with Hisoka, I was trying not to give it away in the regular part of the episode because I didn't want to spoil that I know who he is. But I'm not joking in this comparison of Killua and Hisoka and Gon and Illumini. I'm not kidding in that comparison. Their dynamics are very similar. Killua and his brother have a similar dynamic and magnetic attraction towards Hisoka and Gon respectively. I'm like, yes, it's just right there. I freaking love it. And the fact that he's like, you've always walked away from opponents before finishing them. And he's like, well, I just didn't want to waste, deaths that could be, purposeful later. I feel like it's interesting. I feel like that's an interesting aspect of Hisoka to talk about now, because I feel like it's going to come up later. Is he going to kill Gon, or is he going to let Gon live because he thinks he has more purpose later on? He's let him live once. Would he do it again? I don't know. I almost think that Illumini, it kind of goes with him being an assassin, where he's like, you didn't finish off your opponents immediately, because that's what an assassin does. And he's like, well, no. But y'all, how has a drag queen duo not done these two? The snatched waists, the giant, the torso and all that, the wigs, it's just begging to be done. It really is. God, I love them. And then when he takes the pins out and reveals who he is, look at the way Hisoka looks at him. Come on. You cannot tell me that is not ship-worthy. And you're so fascinating to watch. Come on. Also, Vidal Sassoon wishes with that hair. Vidal Sassoon wishes. And then he's just boop. And has this porcelain white skin. He's like, oh, I feel much better. The most perfect hair. Porcelain skin. Looks amazing. Yeah. And then the digging the burrow is so... I cannot, y'all. Them shoes. Them little bucklety shoes. And Ahsoka's just like, yeah, you're such a weirdo, but I kind of love you. That is the cutest thing I've ever seen. I'll stand by it. Adorable. But yeah, so I don't exactly remember Leorio and Kurapika and Hisoka's fight, but I think Gon gets the badge from him. I think that is the case. That's such a good shot of Hisoka. I don't remember exactly. So next week is going to be a lot of fun to like see it go down. It's going to be so much fun. And I can't wait. So anyway, I'm excited to hear your comments down below. I felt this was all over the place in terms of the discussion, so sorry, but there's lots of moments where my brain is trying to remember what happens next and keep track of everything. So this week was kind of like a building week, but next week's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more of Hunter x Hunter. And I'll see you then. Bye.